In this lesson, we are going to be talking about using percents within problems. So the learning target says that I can use percents to find amounts either from a total or from a part. As we go through this lesson, I'm hoping this will become more clear to you. I would definitely have out paper and pencil ready to go to practice these problems with me as we go. The more you do, the easier this gets. I will also say to make sure that you have your Desmos calculator up and ready to go, because you are allowed to use the calculator for some of the calculations in these problems. So, just as a quick review, we need to remember that percents are always out of 100. And I've said this a lot even in class because it's a very important concept to understand. So anytime we are writing a percent, it is a fraction that is going to be out of a total of 100. So when you look down here at this example, it says percent over 100 is equal to the part over the whole. So in other words, if we have 45%, we know that that is 45 out of 100. 45 is your part. 100 is your whole. So really, percents are just fractions, parts of wholes. They're just a special type where we can use this percent symbol, and we know that percents, again, are always going to be out of 100. This is an important concept to truly understand when we start using them to solve problems. So let's go ahead and do a problem together to work through how we do this. So I will tell you the first time around can be somewhat confusing, but stick with me. We'll do a couple more examples and hopefully it will get easier. If any of this is confusing, please stop the video, rewind, and watch again to truly make sure you understand what I'm discussing. So we have this problem up here that says, what is 12% of 40? So essentially what we are trying to figure out is we have a total of 40, and we want to know what 12% of that will be. So we're going to use something called is over of. So the words is and of help us to solve these kinds of problems if you understand what they mean and what their purpose is in the question. So as we talked about in the last part of this video, fractions, percents, they're parts of wholes, right? Well, when we're talking about the words is and of, is represents your part and of represents your whole. So anytime in a percent problem you see the word is followed by a number or with a number with it, that's your part. And anytime you see the word of, that's your whole. And it does make sense if you think about it, because when we come back up here to the problem, if we're saying what is 12% of 40, we're wanting to know the percent of the total, okay? But specifically in this problem, our total is 40. So when I go to set this up, I want to put the fraction bar and put the number 40 in the bottom where of would go, because that is our total. I put a box around what is, because when you look at the word is, we don't have a number that goes with it. We're trying to figure out the is. We don't know what it is. So we're going to put an X. Anytime there's a variable in math, it means that we're trying to find what that variable is. So this is your is over of. Now, we know that anytime we see a number with a percent sign next to it, as we said in the last slide, 12% is always going to mean 12 out of 100, because percents are always out of 100. So even though you're only given the number 12 here, but with a percent sign, this should indicate to you, okay, 12 out of 100. So when you look at this problem, it should be set up as a number we do not know over a total of 40. And once we solve this, it should equal 12%. And that 12% we just wrote as 12 over 100. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next screen because it's a little bit more clear. And I'll go ahead and explain that one more time so we can truly understand what's happening. This 12 over 100 is my 12% because I know that 12 over, or anything over 100 can be written as a percent and vice versa. I know my total is 40. This is my total, this is my whole, and I also know anytime I see the word of in a problem, it correlates with my total. What I don't know is the is, or the amount of the total, right? I don't know the amount of the total. This was my is in my problem, and this is the part, right? This is my part of my total. Now that I have this set up where I say that x over 40 equal to 12 over 100, I can solve for x. Again, bear with me. After this example, we'll do a few more and hopefully it will make some more sense. So what we're going to do is something called cross multiplication. I will say, at least with me, that I am not a huge fan of cross multiplication for every type of ratio problem you do, but when it comes to percent problems, it is very helpful. So when you see a percent problem and we set it up, you are going to cross multiply. Cross multiply literally means to multiply looking across. So I'm going to take x and I'm going to multiply it with 100. That gives me 100 times x. Then I'm going to take 40 times 12. It is equal to, if you need to, put it in the calculator. 40 times 12 is 480. Now, I'm trying to find out what x is. X is my missing amount, x is what I want, but currently it has 100 times x. So if I want to get rid of 100, I have to do the inverse operation. So if I am multiplying x times 100, I need to divide x by 100. Now, whatever I do to this side of my equation, I need to do to the other side of the equation. This is the same idea as when we were learning how to divide. And I told you guys that if you ever had to do anything to your divisor, you need to do the same thing to your dividend to balance your equation. So if I'm going to divide this side by 100, I need to divide this side by 100. 100 divided by 100 is just 1. If you think about it just as a fraction without x, 100 over 100 would be equal to 1. So all we're left with over here is x. Over here, if we take 480 and divide it by 100, again, you may use your calculator, you will get an answer of 4.8. So, in conclusion, 4.8 is 12% of 40. If you want to check yourself in the calculator, what you do is you take 4.8, put it over 40, because that's a fractional amount. This is the same thing as division, and if you take 4.8 and divide it by 40, you will get 0.12 in your calculator. We know that 12 hundredths is 12%. Let's try another one. Take a piece of paper, make sure you're doing this with me. So in this problem it says, what is 20% of a $30 meal? Well, I'm going to just think about this question as a whole, and what I'm really asking myself is, I have a total cost of $30 for my meal, and I want to tip the waitress or waiter 20%. So I have a percent, and I know because of the percent symbol that that means 20 out of 100. The next thing that I look at is my is and my of. Remember, it's always is over of. It is helpful sometimes in the corner of your papers to write is over of, just to keep you understanding that of is your total and is your part. So if I look at my question, I see after the word of, I have of a $30 meal. So I have the total. The total of the meal is $30. What I don't know is the is. What is 20% of 30? What is? Well, we're going to figure it out, but for now we have to put an X there because that is the quantity that we're missing. That is what we need to figure out. So now basically what this equation is saying is 20%, because 20 over 100 is equal to 20%, should equal whatever x is divided by 30, okay? Now, to get x by itself, we are going to cross multiply. So x times 100 is 100x. 20 times 30 equals 600. Again, you may put it in the calculator to check for good measure. We're trying to find out what x is, so we have to get rid of this 100. And since we're multiplying by 100, we need to divide by 100 to undo the operation. So you have to do the same thing over on this side. You have to balance out your equation and divide by 100. 100 by 1 divided by 100 is just x because it's just 1. And 600 divided by 100 is 6. So in conclusion of this problem, 6 is 20% of 30 or $30. If you want to check your work in the calculator, we're stating that we say that 6 out of 30 would be 20%. When you put 6 divided by 30 in the calculator, you will get an answer of 0.0, I'm sorry, not 0.0, 0.2, which we know is equal to 20%. So that is correct. Let's try this problem. If you want, you can pause the video, try it on your own, and check your work with mine. So I have a percent. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of put a little cloud over that because I know if I see the percent symbol that means 6 out of 100. I also have an of because it says of 20. Well, of is over of is my total. So I'm going to set this equal to and put 20 in the denominator because that is my total. With is, it just says what is. Well, I don't know what the part is, so I have to put an x. Now I'm ready to solve. Cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 6 times 20 is 120. I want to get x by itself, so I have to divide by 100 since I'm multiplying, and I need to do the same thing to the other side to balance out my equation. That leaves me with 1.2. If I want to check my work and make sure that 1.2 is 6% of 20, I can put 1.2 divided by 20 in the calculator, and I will end up with 0.06, which I know is equal to 6%. Okay, another type of problem that you will run into is where you have the total missing and you have the part. So if you look at this problem, it says 75% of what number is 48. So I look at my problem and I say, aha, I see the percent. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that down because I know if I have a percent, it's going to be out of 100. So there's my 75 out of 100. When I look what comes after of, it says of what number? Well, we don't know the number yet. Is over of. Of is our total. So in this case, x is going to go in the denominator because we don't know the total amount we have. What we do know is 48. So 48 is the part that we have. We need to find the total. So it's the same process. Your x is just now your total. So you are going to cross multiply 75x, because 75 times x. 100 times 48 is 4,800. Divide both sides by 75. And again, here's where the calculator comes in handy. Because if you don't know 4,800 divided by 75 off the top of your head, it's not that you can't do it, but it's quicker to use the calculator. So 4,800 divided by 75 equals 64. So in this problem, what we're saying is that 48 is 75% of 64. Put 48 over 64 in your calculator. You will get 0.75, which we know is equivalent to 75%. The last problem we will do together, again, if you want to pause the video and try on your own, you may, and then check your work with me. 15% of what number is 12? So I'm going to go ahead and look at my problem and say, okay, I have the 15%. Percent tells me it should be out of 100. Set that equal to, of what number? Well, again, what number? We don't know. So of is my total. I'm going to put an X because we're trying to figure that out. Is 12. So it's telling me the part. I have 12. Cross multiply. 100 times 12 is 1,200. 15 times X is 15X. I'm trying to get X by itself, so since I'm multiplying by 15, I have to divide both sides by 15. Once I do that, I get, and I need to actually get my calculator out to double check this answer as well. 1,200 divided by 15 equals 80. So what I am claiming is that 12 over 80 is equal to 15%, because I'm saying that 12 is 15% of 80. Well, let me try that. I'm going to go ahead and put 12 divided by 80 into my calculator. I get 0.15, which I know is equal to 15%. So these are just a couple of problems that we did together in class today. We will do more practice throughout the week next week, and I will put some things on Google Classroom to help those of you that are at home to get some extra practice with these problems as well.